Today we're going to talk about age problems. Now up here I have kind of the 4 basic steps that we're going to follow: defining variables, writing our equation, solving, and then putting our answer in the form of a sentence. Let's just jump into it. The first one we have here says, how old is Tommy if in 3 years he will be twice as old as he was 2 years ago? Whoa, that's a lot of stuff there. So let's see if we can kind of break this down. It says, how old is Tommy if in 3 years he will be twice as old as he was 2 years ago? So obviously we're talking about Tommy. So let's say T is going to stand for Tommy's age now. Okay, so let's see if we can come up with an equation. It says, how old is Tommy if in 3 years? Well, in 3 years means the future. So if Tommy right now is T, then in 3 years he'll be 3 years older. Will be is just like is, so that means equals twice as old as he was 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, that's in the past, so he'd be T minus 2. It says twice as old as that, so it would be 2 times that. Okay. In 3 years, T plus 3 will be twice as old as Tommy was 2 years ago. And so now let's solve. So I get T plus 3 over here, distribute, you get 2T minus 4. I would move my T's to the right, so if I subtract T, I get 3 equals T minus 4. You just move it up over here. I would add 4. Okay, so T is 7. So what does 7 mean? 7 means that's how old Tommy is right now. He's 7 years old. So in 3 years, he'd be 10. 2 years ago, he was 5. So when he's 10, that's twice as old as what he was 2 years ago. So Tommy is 7 years old. All right. Well, a little bit of a tongue twister there, almost. It just a lot of forward and backwards right there. So it's important to keep things straight. So let's take a look again. Next one talks with Tom again. It says Tom is 7 years older than Tim. In 2 years, he will be twice as old as Tim. How old are they now? So now we're talking about 2 people. So Tom is 7 years older than Tim. So again, let's go back to the rule I said a while back, and that was if you have 2 items, and you're trying to make one variable for both of them, you make the item that you don't know anything about your variable. So in this case, we know something about, or it's talking about Tom and Tim. We don't know anything about Tim. So I'm going to call Tim, or Tim's age, T. And then it says Tom is 7 years older. So Tom's age is going to be T plus 7. You always make the person or thing that you don't know anything about the variable. Okay, so here's the tricky part. It says in 2 years. Okay, in 2 years, Tom and Tim are going to be 2 years older. Okay, that means they're going to be plus 2 years. Okay, so it'll say in 2 years he will be twice as old as Tim. Okay, so Tom is this year. This is how old Tom is right now. In 2 years, he's going to be 2 years older. He will be twice as old as Tim. Now, what people confuse is a lot of times they put T down here, right here. But that's not the case. It's actually T plus 2. Why? Because right here it says in 2 years. In 2 years, both of them are getting older. So Tom's getting older by 2 and Tim is getting older by 2. So both of them have to increase by 2 years. Okay, so now if I simplify, this becomes T plus 9. Over here, this is 2T plus 4. I would subtract T. 9 equals T plus 4. I would subtract 4. 5 equals T. And what does that mean? Well, that's Tim's age right now. That means Tom's age is 12. So the question is, how old are they now? Tim's age is 5 years. Tom is 12 years. Okay, so this whole in 2 years thing right here is the part that's confusing for most people. Remember, in 2 years, both of them are getting older, so that's why you have to add 2 to both of them. Okay, last type we're going to talk about. It says a father, age 50, has an 8-year-old son. How long until the father is exactly twice as old as his son? A father, age 50, has an 8-year-old son. How long until the father is twice as old as the son? So, we're obviously talking about a father who, as it says, is age 50. Son is 8 years old. Okay, so we're talking about father and son right now. Father and son. Now the question says, how long until the father is exactly twice as old as his son? So, when we talk about this stuff, okay, what do we know? Well, we know that the